Hari Om.
Hari Om, Nana.
Hari Om.
I'll mute everyone and then you can unmute yourself and start. You can start, Nana. You can start.
Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatetam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatetam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet Adha Srimad Bhagavad Gita Adha Dvadashodhyayah Bhakti Yogaha Arjuna Uvacha Evam Satata Yuktaye Bhaktastvam Paryupasate Echapyaksharam Tesham ke yoga vittamaha Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Maya Vesha Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Te Me Yukta Tamamataha Etvaksharamanirdeshyam Avyaktam Paryupasate Sarvatra Gamachintyam Cha Kutastamachalam Dhruvam Samniyam Yendriya Gramam Sarvatra Samabuddhayaha Te Prapnuvanti Mameva Sarvabhutahite Rataha Kleshodhikatarastesham Avyaktasaktachetasam Kleshodhikatarastesham Avyaktasaktachetasam Avyaktahigatir dukkham Dehavadbhiravapyate Yetu sarvani karmani Mayi sanyasya matparaha Ananyenaiva yogena Mam jayanta upasate Teshamaham samudhatta Mrutyu samsara sagarat Bhavami nachirat padha Maya veshita chetasam Mayeva manadhatsva Mayi buddhim niveshaya Nivasishyasi mayeva Atavurdhvam na samshayaha Atha chettam samadhatum Na sheknosi mayi sthiram Abhyasa yogena tataha Mamichaptum dhananjaya Abhyase apyasamadhosi Matkarma paramo bhava Madardhamapi karmani kurvan siddhimavapsyasi athaitadapya shektosi kartum madyogamashritah sarva karma phalatyagam tata kuru yatatmavan shreyo hi jnanamadhyasat ज्ञानाध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्म फलत्यागः त्यागाच्छान्तिरनन्तरम् अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमे सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः अनपेक्षा शुचिर्दक्षः उदासीनो गतव्यतः सर्वारंभ परित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभ परित्यागी भक्तिमान्यः स मे प्रियः समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतः स्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः. Just to review the last two verses we have covered. Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha manapamanayoho shitoshna sukha dukkeshu samaha sanga vivarjitaha tulya ninda stutit mauni santushtaha yena kenachit aniketaha sthiramatihi bhaktiman me priyo naraha. Aniketaha, the one who does not a place of residence of his own. There is no firm place for him to reside. He keeps on going wherever he has an opportunity to relax and rest. He will at that place. That place could be the shade of a tree. That place could be the house of a Mahatma who thought it fit to invite this jnani, or the place could be even on the raw earth. Aniketaha sthiramatihi bhaktiman me priyo naraha. Important thing to consider is the jnani will not have any niketa. Aniketaha, he does not have a place of his own for dwelling, for resting. He does not have a palace. He neither has an ashram, none of those. Aniketaha sthiramatihi bhaktiman me priyo naraha. Samaha shatrau cha mitre cha. He has the equal disposition in respect of Shatru and Mitra. Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha mana apamanayoho. When he is decorated or when he is insulted, he will treat both of them with equanimity. Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha mana apamanayoho. Shitaha ushna sitoshna sukhadukkeshu samaha. With the pairs of opposites occurring and bothering him, he is samaha. He takes them equally well, no problem. The important thing is he takes them well. Sitoshna sukhadukkeshu samaha sanga vivarjitaha. Absolutely no attachment. Sanga vivarjitaha tulya ninda stutihi mauni. When he is praised or when he is censured, he will take both with equal poise. Tulya ninda stutihi mauni santushtaha yena kenachit. He is absolutely happy, tushtaha, with Yena kenachit, whatever comes on the way for him. Santushto yena kenachit, aniketaha, sthiramatihi. And sthiramati is what? Always on the Atma Bhavaha, sthiramatihi. Bhaktiman me priyo naraha. That kind of a person is indeed my priyaha, my beloved, is iti Bhagavan Uvacha. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. And Bhagavan Uvacha, from when on, Same Priyaha, he said that in some 7 or 8 verses. Adveshta Sarvabhutanam Maitra Karuna Yevacha Nirmamaha Nirahankaraha Samadukka Sukakshami Santushtaha Yena Kenachit. No, I think I jumped from one verse to another. Adveshta Sarvabhutanam Maitra Karuna Yevacha Nirmamo Nirahankaraha Samadukka Sukakshami Santushtaha Satatam Yogi Yatatma Drudha Nishchayaha Mai Arpita Mano Buddhihi Yo Madbhakta Same Priyaha Samaha. Okay? Yo Madbhakta Same Priyaha Yasmanno Dvijate Lokaha Lokanno Dvijate Chayaha Harsha Amarsha Bhaya Udvegaihi Harsha Amarsha Bhaya Udvegaihi Yaha Sachame Priyaha. And he takes all these things with equal poise. Then Yona Hrushyati na dveshti na shochati na kankshati. Oh, this verse is there. Anapeksha suchir dakshaha udasino gathavyadaha sarva arambha parityagi yo madbhakta same priyaha. All these things, we must make them our own. And whenever, in whatever activity we may be, if we are slightly frustrated, if we remember these verses, we will regain our equipoise. Anapekshaha suchiddakshaha udasinaha gathavyadaha sarva arambha parityagi yo madbhakta same priyaha. Then Yona Hrushyati Nadveshti. This particular verse is not there in the PDF document. This is the verse number 17, which was missed in this PDF document. Yona Hrushyati Nadveshti Nashochati Nakankshati Shubha Ashubha Parityagi Bhaktimanyaha Same Priyaha. Then the last 2 verses which we just now covered. Samashatraucha Mitrecha Tata Manapamanayoho Shitoshna Sukadukeshu Tata Shitoshna Sukadukeshu Samaha Sangha Vivadjitaha Tulya Ninda Stutir Mauni Santushtaha Yena Kenachit Aniketaha Stiramatihi Bhaktiman me Priyo Naraha. Those kind of people are indeed my beloveds. Because that is all the Jnani Lakshanas. This is how the Jnani will be. Bhagavan is indirectly telling us to imbibe with prayatna those Lakshanas of the Jnanis and become his beloved. He went on saying, Same Priyaha, Yo Mad Bhakta Same Priyaha, Bhaktimanya Same Priyaha, all those things. So if we want indeed to be the beloved of Bhagavan, we will have to inculcate all these beautiful qualities, beautiful lakshanas, not so much qualities. It must be our second nature to be those things. Second nature to be those things. Okay? Now, the last verse of this chapter, Yetu dharmyamrutamidam yadhoktam padyupasate shraddadhanaha matparamaha bhaktaste ativa me priyaha. Exceedingly, ativa, see this beautiful word, ativa me priyaha. I think in our vernacular also this ativa is perhaps known to many languages. Ativa me priyaha is extremely and exceedingly beloved to me. Who? Yetu, however, those who Paryupasate, they follow all those. Dharmyam amrutam idam. Dharmyam is which is in accordance with dharma. Which is in accordance with dharma. What dharma? Moksha dharma. Which is in accordance with dharma. Amrutam idam. This life that is in keeping with the dharma, leading to immortality. Immortality is what? Immortality is what? Punarjanma navidyate. Mamupechatu kaunteya punarjanma navidyate. And punarjanma navidyate yadhoktam, as was already highlighted. Yadhoktam, from Adveshta Sarvabhutanam onwards, as was said. And I have also given you prescriptions for you to fall in line with these kind of jnanis. And how to do that, I have given you prescription. If this is not possible, do that. If that is not possible, do this. If indeed that becomes difficult, come back to this kind of a thing. If nothing at all is possible, sarva karma phalachagam tatakuruyatatmavan, that also I have said. And I have told also, shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat jnanat jhanam visishyate jhanat karma phalachagaha chagaha shantihi anantaram. This karma phalachagaha, you will gain immense peace. That is why karma phalachagaha kuru yatatmavan. Okay. And after that he said, Adveshta, Sarvabhutanam, all those things. However, those who follow this life that is in keeping with dharma, leading to immortality, as was told, who are endowed with Shraddha, and for whom I am the ultimate, those devotees are exceedingly beloved to me. Now Bhagavan is saying what? Not only you don't be worried that only the jnanis are beloved to me. You indeed, if you fall in line with this and start practicing the tenets of all these things, you will become exceedingly beloved to me. Then why don't you fall in line? Why don't you fall? And that is bhakti. That is the sangati of bhakti. Bhakti yoga. Yoga means sangati. The topic of bhakti, which I have very clearly spelled out. Very clearly spelled out. And following this, whoever has become jnanis, those people also, I have mentioned their lakshanas, their swarupa lakshanas, as though their lakshanas which you ought to prayatnena sampadhyami. You will have to, by your sheer dint of Shraddhopeta effort. Together with Shraddha, that great effort you need to put in, and you will be exceedingly beloved to me. Exceedingly beloved to me. That is how great bhaktas of yesteryears have been. They have all been. And the greatness of the great bhaktas is they held on to one deity. They just held on to one deity. And Bhagavan said, Yo yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayachitumicheti tasya achalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. No matter what deity you want to pray to, you want to worship, you want to have for meditation as an object of your meditation, it does not matter. I will give you the requisite Shraddha in respect of that. Don't worry. Only thing is that deity you slowly translate into Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Nasato vidyate bhavaha na bhavo vidyate sataha ubhayorapi drushtontaha stvanayoho tattvadarshibhihi. You must be the tattvadarshibhihi. That is the prabodha of Bhagavan. Okay? Now we have come to the end of Tattvam. Only thing is, we started with Tvam and ended up with Tat. So we have Sampurnena we have done Adhyayanam of Tattvam. How this is going to be, the identity between Jiva and Ishvara will be known from the 13th through the 18th chapters, which we will slowly take up. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Mahabharate Shatasahasrikayam Samhitayam Vaiyasikyam Srimad Bhishma Parvane Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Bhakti Yogo Nama Dvadashodhyayah Adhatrayodashodhyayah Shri Bhagavanuvacha. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. You got this verse from somewhere. Good. This particular verse, Arjuna Uvacha, is not available in most of the texts. It is available in sparingly some kind of texts. I'm happy that this text is there. Arjuna Uvacha Prakrutim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnameva Cha Etadveditumicchami Jnanam Jneyam Cha Keshava Shri Bhagavanuvacha Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetramiccha Vidhiyate Etadyo Veti Tam Prahuhu Kshetrajna iti tadvidaha. Just a moment, a kind of a diversion. Diversion is from chapter 1 through chapter 12, we have seen there has been some connection between the succeeding chapter and the previous chapter. Like in the case of the first chapter, Arjuna said what? Arjuna said what? It will be kshemataram bhavet. Okay? Ashastram shastrapanayaha. When I don't wield any shastras or astras, shastrapanayaha daktarashtraha rane hanyum tanme kshemataram bhavet. If they kill me in the battle, even that is to be preferred. Iti Arjuna Muktva. What did Sanjaya say? Eva Muktva Arjuna Sankhe Radhopastavupavishat. Vishrudya Sasharam Chapam Shoka Sambhigna Manasaha. He was enveloped in a lot of sorrow. And the second chapter started with what? Sanjaya, having seen this Arjuna in that condition, Bhagavan Vacha. What did Bhagavan say? Kutastva Kashmilamidam Vishame Samupastitam Anarja Justama Swargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna. And the end of the second chapter, Esha Brahmi Stiti Padha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Sthitva Syamantakaalepi Brahma Nirvana Mruchati. That was the end of the second chapter. And how did the third chapter begin? What I am saying is, between chapter and chapter, there is as though some kind of a connection, which based on which either Bhagavan has said or Arjuna has asked a question. Arjuna Uvacha in the third chapter. Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi Keshava. Hey Keshava, if you consider this jnanam is shreyodayaka, is superior to karma, then why are you trying to push me into this terrible karma? That was the beginning of the third chapter. And the end of the third chapter was what? Etu dharmyamrutamidam edoktam padyupasate. No. Etad buddhva buddhiman syat krutakrushyasya bharata. That was the end of the third chapter. Third chapter is, I forgot that verse. Evam buddhehe param buddhva. In this manner, evam buddhehe param buddhva. In this manner, buddhehe param buddhva. That which is superior to buddhi. What is that superior to buddhi? That purushaha. That was said in the 42nd verse of the third chapter. Indriyani paranyahuhu indriyebhya param manaha manasastu para buddhihi yo buddhehe paraha tastu saha. That saha, that purushaha, whom you ought to know, is buddhehe param. And Bhagavan said, evam buddhehe param buddhva samstabhyatmanamatmana jehi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. And continuing in the same vein, Bhagavan said, this yoga was told to Vivaswan in the 4th chapter. Imam Vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam Vivaswan manave praha manuhu ikshvakave abravit. So 4th chapter has kind of a continuity with the 3rd chapter. And 4th chapter ended how? Tasmat ajnana sambhutam hrustam jnanasyanatmanaha chitvainam samshayam yogam yogam atishtottishta bharata. Tasmat ajnana sambhutam, that which is born of ajnana, hrustam, which is rooted in your mind and intellect, jnanasina atmanaha, with your jnana khadga, chitvainam, getting rid of that, samshayam yogam atishtottishta bharata. Your doubts, you cut them asunder with the jnanasina. Asina means a sword. With the jnana khadga, you destroy that and get up. And get up and do what? Yoga matishta bharata. You conform to karma yoga. Then 5th chapter started with what? Arjuna was as though bewildered. Hey Krishna, sannyasam karma sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaha yogam cha shamsasi ichreyashyen yasyeshyan nishchitam bruhi tanme sishyasteham. No. Itreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sinushchitam. Hey Krishna, you are praising jnana, you are praising jnana so very nicely and asking me to yoga matishta bharata uttishta. Why all this? And amongst these two, karma yoga and jnana, which is more beneficial to me, which tanmaya bruhi sunishchitam, you decide firmly and tell me that. That is how the 5th chapter began. And how did the 5th chapter end? 5th chapter ended saying, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam jnatva mam shantim richati. Hey Arjuna, you will attain to a lot of peace knowing that I am the Bhokta sarva yajna sarva tapasam sarva yajnanam yajna tapasam aham bhoktaha sarvaloka maheshwaram. I am the supreme most Lord of all the lokas. Suhridam sarvabhutanam, I am the well-wisher in all beings. Thus jnatva mam, having known me thus, shantim ruchyati, you will attain to peace. And that kind of a peace you will attain by dhyana. What kind of a dhyana? And he began the 6th chapter, anashrita karma phalam, karyam karma karoti yaha, sasanyasi cha yogi cha, na niragnihi na cha akriyaha. Not that person who does not do anything, neither is that person who has given up agnihotra, but that person who is not dependent on karma phala, anashritaha karma phalam, karyam karma karoti yaha. Karyam karma means what? Shastra vihitam karma is karyam. Shastra vihitam karma karoti yaha. Whoever does, that person sa sannyasi. He is a sannyasi. Cha yogi. He is also yogi. And sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnihi na cha akriyaha. It's not as though that person who has given up his purposes with the fire or who does not do any activity. He is neither sannyasi nor a karma yogi. And the 6th chapter, which is the end of the first shatka, ended how yoginam api sarvesham Maggatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yuktatamo mataha. This person is superior, superlative, that kind of a person. Okay. Then that is the end of the first shatka, which is the lakshyartha of tvam pada. Tvam pada. Like I said, we have come to the end of tattvam. Tattvam, only thing is tvam we have taken up first, and tat we have taken up towards the later stages, ending up in the 12th chapter. And the Tattpada Lakshyartha started with what? Maya Saktamana Pardha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayaha Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Jnasisi Tachruno. He Pardha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayaha, having me as a supreme goal, Madashrayaha Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Jnasisi Tachruno. If you take to yoga, how undoubtedly you will know me, you listen to that, etc. So that was the 7th chapter. And 7th chapter ended how? Sadhi bhutadhi daivam mam sadhi yagyam cha ye viduhu prayana kale picha mam te viduhu yukta chetasaha. This is how people will come to know even at the end of their journey in this globe. Okay. Prayana kalepi. Prayana kalepi at that time of Marana Kala. Okay. Then the 8th chapter started with Arjuna's question. Hey Krishna, you said Sadhi Bhutam, Sadhi Daivam, Sadhi Yajnam, etc. The question was related to that. Arjuna Vuvacha. Kim Tad Brahma, Kim Adhyatmam, Kim Karma Purushottama. When did Krishna say Brahma, etc.? In the previous verse to the 7th chapter, the end sloka was what? Sadhi Bhutadi Daivamam. The verse previous to that, the mention of Brahma was there. Jara Marana Mokshaya Mama Shricha Yatantiye Te Brahma Tadvidu Krishnam Adhyatmam Karma Chakilam. Karma, Adhyatmam, Brahma, Sadhi Bhutam, Sadhi Yajnam, all these things have been mentioned, and Arjuna questioned in that direction. Kim tad Brahma, kim Adhyatmam, kim Karma Purushottama, etc. Now this ended with what? This Akshara Brahma Yoga ended with what? Vedeshu yajneshu tapassu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pratishtam acheti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanam upaiti chadyam. That yogi will attain to the most superior of the abodes. And 9th chapter started. Idam tute guhyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave. That supreme abode, how will you gain? Anasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yat jnatva mokshashe ashubhat. That is how 9th chapter Bhagavan has started. And it ended with what? Manmana bhava madbhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. Manmana bhava madbhaktaha bhava madhyaji, worship me. All these things. Then to be in a position to worship, Arjuna happened to ask in the 10th chapter, after Bhagavan's initial verses. Bhagavan started this 10th chapter. Bhuya eva mahabaho shrunu me paramam vachaha itteham priyamanaya vakshyami hitakamyaya. For your benefit, I am going to unfold this. Please listen. Then Arjuna, after having listened to all the glories of Bhagavan, okay, Adhava Bahunaitena, this is the end of the 10th chapter. Adhava Bahunaitena Kim Jnatena Tavarjuna Vishtabhyahamidam Krishnam Ekamshena Sthito Jagat. Out of one amsha of mine, I have as though enveloped the entire Jagat. Why do you have to worry about narration of my glories? There is no end to those. Then Arjuna asked, you have narrated all these things. I would like to see. Madanugrahaya paramam guhyam adhyatma sangitam yaha tvaya voktaha vachastena mohoyam vigato mama. Mama moha is kindly taken care of. But I would like to see all those things. That is how Vishwarupa Sandarshana started. And how did it end? Etu dharmyamrutamidam. No, sorry. That is the 12th chapter. Mat karma krun mat paramaha, mat bhakta sangavadjitaha, nirvaira sarva bhuteshu, yaha saha mameti pandava. You do and activities which are meant for me. Mat karma krun, mat paramaha. Take me to be the most superior. Mat paramaha, mat bhaktaha. Mat bhaktaha means bhava. Mat bhaktaha bhava. Sangavadjitaha bhava. Get rid of all attachments. Nirvairaha sarvabhuteshu. Don't entertain any inimical attitude in respect of anybody. Nirvaira sarvabhuteshu. Yaha. Whoever is there, saha, that person, mameti pandava. He will attain to me. Then 12th chapter started with Arjuna's question. Hey, you said all these things, but you mentioned two types of people. One who does the Nirguna Parabrahma Upasana, the other people who does the Saguna Brahma Upasana. Amongst these, who is better, who is fitter for moksha, who is nearer to moksha. And Bhagavan has very nicely elaborated all those things, ending up with the Jnani Lakshanas. And the Prabodha towards the end of the 12th chapter was because of what all I have narrated regarding the Jnani Lakshanas. Etu dharmyamrutamidam yadhoktam padyupasate shraddhadhana mat paramaha bhaktaha te ativa me priyaha. Those people, whoever are the bhaktas in like manner, in that manner, they are extremely beloved to me. That is what Bhagavan said. Now, 13th chapter began. In most texts, this Arjuna's question is not there. It is directly Sri Bhagavan Vacha saying, Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetramicha Vidhiyate Etadyo Vetitam Prahuhu Kshetragya iti Tadvidaha. In most texts, this verse number 1, verse number 1 is mentioned here, very right. In most texts, this starts with only Bhagavan Vacha. Whereas in this PDF document, I'm happy that what I wanted to mention is already there. Arjuna Vacha. And what did Arjuna say? Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnam Evacha Etad Veditumichami Jnanam Jneyam Cha Keshava. Arjuna wanted to know 6 things. What are those 6 things? Prakritim Purusham. What is Prakriti? What is Purusham? Kshetram, Kshetrajnam. What is Kshetram? What is Kshetrajnam? This is 4. Jnanam Jneyam Cha. What is Jnanam and what is Jneyam? Etat Veditumichami. I would like to know, He Keshava. But look at it this way. From the end of the 12th chapter or till the 12th chapter, there was no mention at all of either Kshetram or Kshetrajnam. These 2 words are not used. Is it not? At the end of the 12th chapter also, even at the end verse, this is not mentioned. Kshetram Kshetrajnam evacha. Etadveditumichami Jnanam Jneyam Cha Keshava. This Jnanam and Jneyam were mentioned in the earlier chapters, no doubt. Okay? Prakriti, Purusha also were mentioned, that no doubt. But Kshetram, Kshetrajna, these 2 words have come up as though just now. Okay? There is perhaps, see, amongst you there are a lot of scholarly people who can really dwell deep into the subject matter. What I am suggesting is, in my opinion, between the 12th chapter and the 13th chapter, perhaps some verses were missing. That is my opinion, which could be erroneous. Because of this, and to substantiate my doubt, in the Gita Press volumes of the Mahabharata, Gita Press volumes of Mahabharata, which were in Telugu, but the Mahabharata, all the shlokas have been inserted into the Telugu volumes. I have the full set of all those volumes. And in the Bhishma Parva, Sanjaya mentions to Dhritarashtra after the 18th chapter, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Pardho Dhanuddharaha Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutihi Dhruva Nitihi Iti Matir Mama. After having said that, Sanjaya says so many verses have been covered in the Gita Shastram, and that so many is about 40 to 50 verses higher than the 700, which we are aware. Gita, we are aware it has 700 verses. What Sanjaya mentioned in the Gita Press edition of the Mahabharata, in the Bhishma Parva, this is what he has mentioned. About 40 or even more, I forgot the number. He says that many verses have been covered in the Gita. And my doubt is between 12th and 13th, perhaps those verses are perhaps missed. Kala Kramena. But I must hasten to add that the oldest bhashyam on the Gita is from Shankaracharya. He belonged to the 7th or 8th century AD. He did not mention this doubt at all. And neither did he say there are some verses missing and things like that. And there are some versions of the Mahabharata who differ from one another, like the Bengali version, like the Varanasi version, like the Bombay version, like the Gita Press version. I don't know. It is for scholarly people in you who can perhaps go deeper into the matter and perhaps unearth whatever may be the missing link. That's all. So Arjuna Vavacha, we will take to this 13th chapter tomorrow. I think we will chant chapters 1 through 12 between today and tomorrow, and maybe day after if required, and then take up the 13th chapter. Why I'm saying this, the chanting those 12 chapters, that is the first two shatkas, Thampada Lakshadha, Tatpada Lakshadha. It is important that we do not forget the slokas we have learned. The slokas must be always ringing in our minds, and we must gain adequate knowledge of the slokas. That is why I thought we will go through the slokas. Okay, can we start with the first chapter after we are through with the smaller version of the Gita Mahatyam, which I will render now. Ada Shri Gita Mahatyam Gita Shastramidam Punyam Yapate Praitappuman Vishnu Padamavapnoti Bhayashokadi Varjitaha Gita Jena Shilasya Pranayama Parasya Cha Naiva Santihi Papani Purvajanma Krutani Cha Malanirmochanam Pumsam Jalasnanam Dine Dine Sakrut Gitam Bhasisnanam Samsara Malanashanam Gita Sugita Kartavya Himanyai Shastra Vistaraihi Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padmadvinishhrutaha Bharatamrita Sarvasvam Vishnoho Vaktradvinishrutam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punajjanmana Vidyate Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Pardho Vatsa Sudhirбhokta Dugdham Gitamrutam Mahat Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantra Tasya Namani Yani Karma Pyekam Tasya Devasya Seva Om Tat Sat Iti Gita Mahatyam Sampurnam. What I would request the chanters of the chapters of the Gita, starting from the first chapter, is at the end of the chapter, maybe in order to gain time, suffice it to say Om Tat Sat, and then Atha Dvitiyodhyaya. That kind of a thing will save a little time for us, save it a little time of chanting one or two slokas. So you can start on the chanting. Hari Om.
Are we starting with Gita Dhyanam or chapter 1, Nana?
Chapter 1, Gita. You want Gita Dhyanam? Gita Dhyanam, perhaps we can defer it to the end of the 18th chapter. At the end of the 18th chapter, we will do all these things. Gita Dhyanam, Gita Mahatyam of the both types, and all the 18 chapters. Okay? We'll do that.
Jai Gurudev Brahmana. I was supposed to chant chapter 1.
Very good.
Yeah. Should I follow my PDF or are you
Yeah,
going
you
to
can
share?
follow your PDF. I'll show it here. You can start.
Okay. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः अर्जुन विषाद योगः धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत सञ्जय जय उवाच दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकम् व्यूढम् दुर्योधनस्तदा आचार्यमुपसंगम्य राजा वचनमब्रवीत् पश्येतां पाण्डुपुत्राणाम् आचार्यमहतिं च मूम् व्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण तव शिष्येण धीमता अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा भीमार्जुनसमायुधि युयुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथाः दृष्टकेतुश्चेकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित् कुन्तिभोजश्च शैबश्च नरपुङ्गवः युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्त उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रौ द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः विशिष्टा तस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तानि बोध द्विजोत्तमा नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं ताम्रमीविते भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदत्तिर्जयद्रथः अन्ये च बहवः शूरा मदर्थे दग्धजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितं पर्याप्तं त्विदमेतेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम् अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यथा भागमवस्थिताः भीष्ममेवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि तस्य सञ्जनहर्षं कुरु वृद्धं पितामहः सिंहनादं विनद्योच्चैः शङ्खं दद्मौ प्रतापवान् ततः शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च पणवानकगोमुखाः सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्त सशब्दस्तु मुलोऽभवत् ततः श्वेतैर्हये युक्ते महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदद्मुदुः पाञ्चजन्यं ऋषिकेशो देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः पौण्ड्रं दद्मो महाशङ्खं भीमकर्मावृकोदरः अनन्तविजयं राजा कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सह देवश्च सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ काशश्च परमेश्वासः शिखण्डी च महारथः दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्यकिश्चापराजितः द्रुपदौ द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्वशः पृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहुः शङ्खान् दद्मुः पृथक् पृथक् सघोषोधार्तराष्ट्राणां हृदयानि व्यतारयत् नभश्च पृथिवीं चैव तुमुलो व्यनुनादयन् अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्धम्य पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदमाहमहीपते अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयमेच्युत यावदेतान्निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे योत्समानानवेक्षेऽहं य एतेऽत्र समागताः धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धे युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्तो ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम् भीष्मद्रोणप्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्येतान् समवेतान् कुरूनिति तत्रापश्यत् स्थितान् पार्थः पितॄनथ पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेयः सर्वान् बन्धून् अवस्थितान् कृपया परयाविष्टो विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत् अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युत्सं समुपस्थितं सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति तुष्य शरीरे मे रोमहर्षस्य जायते गाण्डीवं स्त्रंसते हस्तान् पक्षैव परिदह्यते न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च ते मनः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव न च श्रेयोनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च किन्नो राज्येन गोविन्द किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा येषामर्थे काङ्क्षितन्नो राज्यं भोगा सुखानि च त इमेव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणान् त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्या पितरः पुत्राः तथैव च पितामहः मातुला श्वशुरा पौत्राः शाला सम्बन्धिनस्तथा एतान् न हन्तुमिच्छामि न तोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतो हि किन्नु मही कृते निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीतिः स्यार्जनार्दन पापमेवाश्रयेदस्मान् हत्वैतानाततायिनः तस्मान्नार्हा वयं हन्तुं धार्तराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव यद्यप्येतेन पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयम् अस्माभिः पापादस्मान्निवर्तितुं कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्माः सनातनः धर्मे नष्टे कुलकृत्स्नम् अधर्मोऽपि भवत्युत अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसङ्करः संकरो नरकायैव कुलघ्नानां कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो हेषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रियः दोषैरैतैः कुलघ्नानां वर्णसङ्करकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्माः कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वताः उत्सन्नकुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासो भवतीत्युनुशुश्रुम अहो बत महत्पापं कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयं यद्राज्य सुखलोभेन हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यताः यदि माम प्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः धार्तराष्ट्रारणे हन्त्युः तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत् संजय उवाच एवमुक्तार्जुनः सङ्ख्ये रथोपस्थ उपविशत् विसृज्य सशरं चापं शोकसंविघ्नमानसः ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे अर्जुनविषादयोगो नाम प्रथमोऽध्यायः।
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Srimad Bhagavad Gita
Hari
Atha
Om.
Dvitiyo. Hari Om.
Yeah, first chapter was chanted very, very nicely. I think we have come to 8 o'clock already. We will take up second chapter tomorrow, okay? Second
Okay,
chapter
okay.
onwards, we will take up tomorrow. Please don't mistake me, because your
Okay.
Manana class would be starting anytime now. Okay?
Maybe she can chant the first verse and then we'll.
Okay, right. Please go ahead, chant the first verse.
Om Atha Dvitiyodhyayah Sanjaya Uvacha Tantatha Kripaya Vishtam Ashrupurna Kulekshanam Vishidantamidam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudanaha.
Very good. Yeah. So, Hari Om, everybody. I'm
Hari Om.
happy we have come to Tattvam. We have come to appreciate Tattvam. That is important. And we'll continue the chanting tomorrow, maybe if required, day after also. Looks like at least 2 more days will be required. So be it. We will get to know whatever slokas we have covered, and we will also get to know through the chanters who are doing very nicely how to chant. Okay? Hari Om, everybody.
Hari Om,
Om
Nanaji.
Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Nanaji, excuse me for any mistakes made.
No, you've done well. You've done well, really. Except for one or two words, perhaps. It is, reading from the PDF text. It's not an easy thing. It's not like reading from a book which you may hold in your hand. You've done extremely well. Very good. I'm pretty sure that all other chanters will do equally well. Very good.
Nanaji, can you please, sometime whenever you have some time, can you please tell us how to break the words? Like many times, how to break the words? How to break the words? Like many times it is mixed words which are split.
No, I did not follow your question, madam.
The breaking of the words or the shloka, we stop at some time, right? The first shloka, we might break it into two parts, right? And many times the last word, like "so," would be right? That.
Okay, we'll go through that
Yeah.
after the end of the 18th chapter.
Okay.
Okay, if you so wish, I will start chanting first chapter onwards and break the words as appropriately required by you. Yeah, we'll get to know chanting nicely.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Hari Om. We'll meet tomorrow, 7 o'clock.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om.